G'day and welcome to the Ball Boys AFL Fantasy Podcast. Today we're continuing our discussion on defenders, this time tackling the mid-prices, the make or break of our fantasy team. Let's go! Go!
Hodge has done it from nowhere. Hodge in the goal from inside the 30. Sheed from the boundary. Dusty.
G'day and welcome to the Ball Boys AFL Fantasy Podcast. I am your host, Mitch Casey, and you can find me on Twitter at Ball Boys Fantasy, joined by Luke, who's stitching me up with the buttons already. How are you, mate?
I thought you might just hang on to it a little bit and I could kind of keep you going, but you fell short, mate.
I ran out of breath there.
You got to bring the energy.
I'm saving it for these defender mid-prices who we're going through today.
I was thinking this morning, I'm actually pretty excited for this episode because these are the guys that you need to nail.
Yeah,
they? I mean,
100%.
we talked premiums. You sort of, to the most extent, you know what you're going to get with the premiums, but
they're all like the
mid-prices.
premiums. You're splitting hairs and things like that, but they're all good. Like it's
Yeah,
not
I think
like
so.
I mean, maybe there might be one that really flops, but for the most part, we expect them all to be pretty good.
We're hoping
These
so.
mid prices, they could be awesome, they could be downright terrible,
Yep.
could be everything in between. So there's a lot to talk about. A lot of popular players for us to discuss.
Picking these players well goes a long way to winning a hat, winning
100%.
a car, I reckon, from the start.
And it doesn't stop. If you don't pick these guys, it's not like, okay, they're out of my... I didn't pick them in this first round. They're out of my mind. Like, I'm not worrying about them.
You got to fix that.
You got to stay on top of it, watch these guys through the first few rounds, and if they do pop even a round or two into it, fix up trades, get them into your sides. So, yes, very, very important. And we are going to be... different to last time, we're going to be not fence sitting today.
Oh,
mostly because we couldn't find a sound grab for the for the maybe, but we're going to be giving a thumbs up, a thumbs down to all these mid prices, basically to say whether or not we, at January 8th, which is when we're recording this.
we know all we need to know by now, don't we?
Absolutely.
Pick your team and
what preseason like? Who gives
done.
a shit? So at the moment, this is our thumbs up, thumbs down. So let's
You're itching to get your sound grabs out. Do you want to play them straight off?
I'll keep them in suspense.
I thought you might want to say, hey, here's what we got.
No, we'll keep them in suspense.
Righto.
Let's keep tucked up our sleeve.
They better be good now.
I'll throw over to you the first one. Zach Williams of Carlton. He is very cheap.
Priced at 49.
Yeah, 444k, 49 price at figure. Injuries obviously have been the reason that he is so cheap, but because he is cheap, he has tremendous upside. But what are your thoughts with Zach Williams, who also has a round 2 bye?
You brought it up there and you flagged the injury. So for me, there's that is sort of the main concern. If he gets on the field and he's healthy, there's straight away, for me, 25 points of upside at a minimum. So we're looking at like maybe a 75 average with the potential in the right role to be even more impressive.
Yep.
So I wanted to sort of throw the question back to you on Zach Williams is this guy a guy that we have to pick except for the fact that he has the round 2 bye? Like if he didn't have the round 2 bye, would it just be... I think
these round 2 bye players are very much, to me, especially because they are the mid prices, they're very much going to be, well, how do they score? How do they look in round 0? Because if Zach Williams if he comes out and scores a 65, I'm probably not picking him because he's going to play one game and then get around like a bye round, and his price is probably not going to move all that much. And if for whatever reason I want to get him in round 3, then I can look that way and it might be a bit of a fix-up trade there. But if he comes out and scores a 90, then I might consider looking at Zach Williams in that situation. So he and another guy who we're going to talk about, probably need to show not only a good role, but they also probably do need to score well because it does kickstart their movement in price, because it is important for these mid-prices to get off to a fast start for them to be worthwhile to be in our starting squad.
Will you put your money where your mouth is? Do you have a line?
Oh, I don't know about a line just yet. And it will also depend on the other players that score in those lines as well.
Sitting already.
Oh, shit. I'll say, what's he priced at again?
49.
49.
Does it have to be a 75
and
or?
Scores an 80 in a good roll, I'll accept it.
Okay. Good, mate. That's good. We
Yeah.
normally fence it,
Yeah.
so you fucking bang on.
Do you agree with the line? Or
I think 80. I would even go something around the 75 with the good roll.
Yeah.
I think it does, as
One
you
week
say.
get a bye.
Well, it does, as you say, depend on what else is happening around him as well. But I get the feeling that there's going to be some safety in numbers here. Just from listening to other people talk, from reading write-ups, I feel as though this is going to be a guy that a lot of people might just suck it up and
he
start
will be
with.
very popular. And the reason we are starting with him is because of the players that we're going to be talking about today. He is the most popular. He is in currently 37% of AFL Fantasy size, which is the most out of these mid-pricer players.
He got married recently too.
Zachy Williams did? Is that a good or a bad thing for his fantasy?
I was going to ask you the same thing.
I think that there's a baby bump.
Okay, so you think if they have a baby, no good?
Good.
Oh, good if they have the baby.
Yeah, they're
How does
playing,
that work?
Well, they're playing for something else, you know. Like, I don't know. There's just
Sleepless nights. I wouldn't have thought that could
Have
be.
you seen Derek White, mate? He got
sorry.
a kid last
Back to
year,
NBA.
and he's been killing it.
I think marriage. I think relationship status is. I think it's a positive thing for fantasy.
Yeah. Generally, I think girlfriend tank.
Oh, okay.
Value down. It's like new marriage. Maybe a good thing.
So once you lock in those fantasy scores as well.
Maybe we'll see. Totally relevant.
Mate,
but
we're going to be scrolling through Instagram working out who's who.
Yeah. Right now, Zach Williams. What do you think? Well, do you think he's thumbs up, thumbs down on the fence? What have you got?
We can't do maybe, mate. We don't have a sound grab for it. I'm going thumbs up and let's go.
Wow, it's very nice.
This is very nice. Okay.
The new sound grab. Well done.
I'll support that one. He is currently in the Mitchmond team at the moment because I do think he's going to come out and score pretty well. He's not someone that I think we're going to have to, like his injury concern, but like it's less of a concern when it's a guy that in 6 weeks you can flip him. And, if he can just get through 5, 6, 7 weeks, that's all he needs to do to make his money. And I'm not expecting him to be a premium like he might have been a couple of years ago. This time around, it's just literally a cheap guy who can score. You'd think he's best 22 as long as he's healthy. And, even 2 years ago, he's scored like 137, I think, in a game. So he still has that ceiling.
Halfback role?
Yeah.
Doherty,
so.
Doherty into the midfield, wing. Sard and Williams dominating the halfback?
Yes, and Newman. So that'll be the other thing to watch.
2 mouths to feed, but we don't. The point is, we don't need Zach Williams to do anything miraculous.
He goes 75, 80. He's done his job.
Okay,
and he's going to make some cash. So
very nice.
Let's go on to the next one. The next one here is another guy, and he is the next most popular, and it just happens to be another player with a round 2 bye, and that is Kadeen Coleman.
I don't
from
think
the Brisbane Lions. What are your thoughts on Kadeen?
I don't think you can double up, first of all. I'd feel a little sketchy having two somewhat speculative picks that also have early buys.
Yeah.
Do you think the thing with Coleman is the grand final performance that people are frothing over? Because I went back and looked at the stats. And
I do think that is a big factor into what people are thinking, and the fact that, he had a 127 in that grand final, but I'm pretty sure he turned up at halftime. Like, he was going huge at the start of the game. But that also means he went pretty poor in the second half of the game.
From the statistics, fantasy-wise, it's not impressive last year. Like, he's an impressive player. Brisbane want the ball in his hands, of course. But if you go back and have a look at his game by game, fantasy-wise last year, it's not impressive. The other narrative, and we're guilty of this, I think we said it on the last podcast, is talking about the Daniel Rich retirement. Daniel Rich played 7 games last year.
Didn't play much. So, yeah, I've got some stats on that. So, he's priced at 69.5. So, we'll round that up to his price at 70.
Yep.
In games without Daniel Rich, he did see an improvement. He averaged 81.6. But that's like, 11, 12 points better in those games without Rich. He did, however, get better as the season went on. So, after round 13, before the finals, he averaged 88.8, so 89. 84, and if you include the finals, he went at 88.8. So if it is that 89 that he averaged after round 13, if the finals are included, you're getting about 20 points of upside. But when I have to put that many stipulations in, it's like I'm cherry picking stats. So he doesn't really inspire me as a guy that I think is a big scorer. I think he's probably one of those players that looks like a better footballer than he is a fantasy guy. And the Brisbane Lions are actually not the best fantasy scoring team. And I think they were maybe one of the lowest teams in terms of disposals last season. And with them making the grand final, I don't see that changing all too much.
The thing is, like you said, he's priced at 68. You want at least 20 points of upside, which puts you just under the 90 mark.
Mm-hmm.
So you're asking a 90 average from a guy that in the regular season only went 90 plus twice. So,
Really?
I mean, he has a 111 in there and a 105 from the stats that I'm looking at.
I think 93 and 97 around 23, 24. But yeah, not tons.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know why I don't have the whole stats here on this website.
But that's it. They're the only other two. So 4 times over 90 and twice
two of them
over,
are only just over
100. Yeah.
So, I mean, it's probably asking a lot,
It is.
I think. The thing I sort of think of, the vein I think of him in is he's an elite user off the half-back line. Let's say, like a Dacos style player in terms of using the ball off the half-back. But Dacos is a thirsty gangster.
He doesn't. He's quenched.
I think he's quenched.
Yeah, I think he's quenched.
Unless Brisbane are making this concerted effort to get him the ball on every occasion, I just don't see it being this massive guy with a massive ceiling. So I'm not there.
Okay, I think, and the other thing I'll throw in there lastly before we get the final verdict and we play another sound grab, is he was used as a sub, a healthy sub in round 13 against the Hawks. And whenever you are, dropped and used as a sub in a team that is obviously like a premiership contender, there's a little bit of a flag that comes up for me there, and it just doesn't fill me with a whole lot of confidence. And the round 2 bye there, I'm leaning more towards right now. If I have to pick one of those two, I'm leaning more towards Zach Williams because he's cheaper. Like he's $200K less than a Keane Coleman. Keane Coleman's not actually that cheap. Like he's cheap, but he's not bargain basement sort of price. So I guess you're a no.
I'm a no.
I'm a no as well.
No! God, please, no! No! No!
It makes it sound very conclusive, the sound grab, doesn't it?
And our good mate from The Office is a good. What's the character's name again?
Steve. I was going to say Steve Carell.
Yeah, Steve Carell. What's his?
But it's now I've drawn a blank.
No, okay. I'm not putting the spot there.
Leave it with me.
He'll come back to you. But yeah, he's a no as well. Steve is a no. Let's quickly, just before we move on to the next guy. Mike Scott, that's the one. Quickly before we move on to the next one there, guys, we've got lots of fantasy content coming out this season, this preseason. So if you are enjoying it and you haven't already, please consider subscribing and hit that old thumbs up button. And our goal, we're trying to, Operation 2K club we want to get to first.
Let's shoot for the stars.
I wanted to put the 3K club out there, but we'll tick off 2 first, I reckon. So if you haven't already, go and hit that big old subscribe button.
About 600 to go.
Yeah, 600 to go. Just cross the 1,400. So help us get there if you haven't already. Over to the next one. Another guy that I'm very much watching, and this midfield rotation I'm very much watching as well. Marcus Windhager from the St Kilda Saints. What do you think about him in terms of a potential midfield role this season? He's still under 21 years old, so he's a young player going into his third season, third-year breakouts. Potentially a bit of a... who was the Hawthorn guy? Will Day kind of about him I can potentially foresee. There's a few different ways that the Saints can go this year, I think, though. Yeah,
it's something that is not fantasy related, but when I read it, made me think, hey, there's something to this. Did you see that he's going to wear Spud Frawley's old number?
Oh, no, I didn't.
Year?
Is that
true?
So,
yeah, it was the article that I read. So, for
have
me,
to be some kind of a player to get the go-ahead for that.
Given, all that Spud is to St Kilda, they're not just handing that out willy-nilly. So that filled me with a little bit... Not necessarily point me towards any sort of role that he's going to play, but that points me towards the fact that they see this guy as a big part of their future.
Yeah,
this
he's
is not a guy.
Just a guy that's going to be in and out. He's in there.
Yeah, you'd have to think so, wouldn't you? But interesting sort of stat. In the last few games of the season, so sort of the last 7 games of the season, he didn't really see too many CBAs from what I could see, but that kind of coincided with when he was doing some of his best scoring. I know people that owned him late last year were kind of happy with that sort of 3 or 4 week patch that he put together. Was it just post buys? Maybe something
and it was
like
he was the perfect guy that came in and did well during the buys and just outside of the buys. I think
I just found that interesting.
Yeah, he had a little good patch there. I think he did have some games there where he did get a spike in CBAs here and there. If I just look up, so where was he? Marcus Windhager. Yeah. So he had a game in round 14 where he had 81% CBAs, and then a few games around that, round 13. So all after their bye, round 13, 14, 15, 16, 36, 81, 36, 36, 0, and then 41. And then he went back to sort of not playing in the midfield.
Yeah, but I mean, he actually scored reasonably consistent through this patch as well. After
he did, and
it didn't take the wind taker out of his sails, which was good. So.
No, that was actually very smooth. I didn't mind that. But he averaged after the buys 77.6 on the 17.6% CBAs. So, like you said, he doesn't necessarily need high CBAs, but a little bit in there gives him a bit of a taste. And like I said, he's a third-year player, so if that is going to be part of his future, maybe it goes up from 17 to maybe 25, 30%, and he's a bit more around the ball.
Priced at 62, what do you need from him?
We normally ask for like that 20 points of upside, which I think there is potential for him to do, and I also like the fact that obviously he doesn't have the early buy. We talked about the Saints having a decent run to start the beginning of the year.
Yeah.
So, yeah, you're probably looking for 80 to 85. 85 would make it a great pick. 80 would make it a decent pick to start the season. So, with that in mind, like, what do you think he's a thumbs up or a thumbs down?
He's a guy that I want to sit on the fence with. It's something interesting as well. So, they brought in Paddy Dow. They brought in Liam Henry over the off-season as well. If Paddy Dow's just coming to be insurance, it doesn't matter. But if Paddy Dow's coming to play, you expect him to be playing in and around that midfield rotation.
Am I right when they said they lost Jade Gresham, right?
Yeah, lost is it Billings as well? Did they lose Billings?
Yes. Yep.
So perhaps there's still that space in there. Does he sometimes get deployed in a tagging role as well?
He has in the past. I don't think he did it as much as I expected him to last year. There might have been 1 or 2 games where he was doing a bit of a slight tag. I think I remember a game where he was kind of running with Doherty, I think, at one stage earlier in the season. But not a full-time hard tagging role I can remember as much last year. But he has done that in the past, I do believe. So that is in his repertoire, I would say.
It was an interesting one because when I first started doing some research, I thought, I don't think I'm really interested. But the article about him getting the number 2 actually...
That pushed you in that
direction. It
direction.
just gave me a little bit of like, okay.
I just look at this midfield and I go, okay, Jack Steele.
Yeah.
Brad Crouch.
Yeah.
Who's next? Like,
Yeah,
are we really
Yeah.
Seb Ross? Like, are we going back to the well there? And is he going to be like? And even if he's in there, is he there like 70%? I wouldn't have thought he was 54% last year. I can really only see that coming down.
We don't suspect that Sinclair's going to be dominating time in there either.
Like Zach Jones played 3 or 4 games last year. He's his body's let him down a little bit.
Windhager doesn't fit the financial sort of repertoire that they're going for in there.
Dow Jones.
He's not Dow Jones or Stocker.
No,
so I mean, and he doesn't pop out for enough of those Marcuses.
No. The Windhager out of your sales is better.
Oh man,
You started here and then you just plummeted after that. Actually, hold on, that's going to deserve this. I forgot I had that.
You got to play it straight away. It doesn't count now.
Yeah,
mate.
I forgot I had that. So
mate, my strategy is throw as much mud at the wall as I can and see what sticks.
You miss every shot you don't take, a wise man once said.
The brain's already bloody ticking for the next name.
I am going to give a Windhager or one of these ones.
Wow, is it very nice?
I'll give them a thumbs
very
up.
nice. Did the number 2 tip you over the edge, or were you already?
It's a good stat. It fills me just with a little bit more confidence, and I just think that if I'm looking at a player, I'm looking at a guy who's going into his 3rd season. He's got no early buy round. He's got a matchup I'll read out the St Kilda starting six games. Couldn't have gone to a better person. Windhager gets the number 2. Yeah, well, there you go. He obviously they think a lot about him.
Yeah.
He comes up against Geelong, Collingwood, Essendon, Richmond, all in the first 4. I think those 4 are all decent matchups. The Giants in round 5 is maybe a tougher one. And then the Bulldogs in round 6, which is another decent matchup as well. So he is someone that I think, is definitely, if he's not on your radar, should be on your radar at the moment. And go ahead and give him that little star on the AFL Fantasy app. Because he is only in 7% of teams at the moment. So maybe not someone that a lot of people are thinking about. All right.
Next bloke on our list is the young Bulldog.
Yes,
Nick
the new Bulldog, Nick Caulfield.
Yeah.
Who,
I think he actually supported the club.
did he? Is he one of those guys?
I saw a photo with a scarf on.
Do you reckon that increases the, I don't know, scoring ability of a player?
Oh, it would be pretty cool to play for the
I reckon
franchise you liked
it would
growing
have to
up,
just,
wouldn't it?
if your tackle numbers come up, just like a little bit extra.
If you were running the point for the Celtics, what do you reckon you'd average?
Oh, 25, 10 and 10.
Fuck yeah. I'd put you in my fantasy team.
Yeah, I reckon it just give you a little bit more of a pep in your step.
I hope I got that right.
But he is someone who didn't play at all last year.
Well, this is the thing. He's got an injury history. So ACL into hamstrings, calves. He just can't get on the field. So...
I'm too slow. No, they're better. The last name sticks to last names.
That was all right?
Yeah, sticks to last names. But he is... Like he's not someone who's like dominated in terms of scoring in the past.
Yeah.
He's played, 4 seasons in the AFL. Every season he seems to just hover around 60 points per game. So in his rookie year, 56, second year, 59, 2020, that's a 62, but that's a 62 in COVID time. So that's actually a better score. It's probably his best year. And 2021, he went back down to 61 again. So, not someone who is going to score a lot, but he's nearly rookie price, 358k. He's definitely someone that obviously you're not going to be holding on for a long time. He's there to make cash, but priced at 40 points. If he goes that 60 points, which he's literally done the last 3 seasons in a row, even in a season where he had 4 minutes less per quarter.
Like I said, he's a rookie.
20 points of upside. It's a pretty easy selection. My question to you is, do you think he's locked in as the Bulldogs' best 22?
That was going to be sort of my caveat on it. Is like, okay, so who have you got back there? You got Dale. You got potentially Caleb Daniel. Yeah. They want probably JJ.
You've got
in that role.
JJ. You've got Ed Richards.
Ed Richards.
How tall is he? So he's 191 centimeters. So is he like a medium tall kind of role? Like
yeah, and it also when they're about 191, it kind of depends on the athletic ability as to whether they can play up or not. But it's a decent list of names that you got to get in front of. Like he's not going to be better in before Dale. If Caleb Daniel's playing back there, he's not in. They like JJ over him, and then you said Ed Richards. I think Ed Richards is a gun as well. So it's like where does he fit?
Does he play alongside those guys? Like, because who else do they have in the defenders in terms of like a bigger role? They had. I mean, Josh Bruce was delisted. Like he retired or was delisted, or one of the two. So
he's not going to. He won't play a key role. At 191, I don't think he'll play a key role. The thing I can see happening is Bevo putting Caleb Daniel in the midfield more permanently because he does like to flirt with that. But the job security isn't there, so I'd have to see something between now and round 1, round 0 to say this guy's solidified a spot in the team.
Yeah, because if you're paying just that little bit more than a rookie price, maybe he doesn't quite make as much cash as those rookies, but the benefit of having him there is that you would hope someone who's, going to their 5th season, he's been, acquired by the club for a reason that he does have a little bit of extra job security, and hopefully not a Charlie Constable situation.
Sometimes that reason can literally just be insurance, unfortunately. Yeah. We see that sometimes.
Yeah, so give me the verdict on a Nick Caulfield. Where are you leaning towards him?
I think he can nick off.
Oh, so you're going one of these ones?
No! God, please, no! Yeah. No! No!
So Chapman. No! Sorry, it goes for an
still
hour.
Going, mate.
Well, Chapman, Williams. There's another
Marcus Windhager. Is that what you're talking about?
Windhager. I'm just like listing guys that I think are in that mid-price bracket that I think I would pick before him. So
I think if I was to pick a Nick Caulfield, I would most like to have him as my D6 and have no rookies on my defense line.
Oh, okay.
And have that structure where that's sort of my, leg up on the rest of the competition, that if like a rookie, for example, was dropped like last year when we were, having to field some of those Carlton defender rookies, and it was a bit of a nightmare. I would like that to be the structure I have. I don't know if I love him as much as a D5 and you got him and a rookie. Yeah. To me, you're playing a little bit with fire with job security in that situation there. So
did you hear that he's actually, just a fun fact, he's actually been sick for part of this preseason so far?
Where you go? This is a joke coming. Look at your face.
He had a cough.
Oh, Jesus. I think it's so funny. Oh, man. I can tell when you're
just laugh, man. Just embrace it.
The build-up's funny than the actual
joke. You can start throwing me some alley-oops.
Okay, let's move on to the next guy here. This guy, he is looking like he's going to be a bit of a happy chappy, this one, because he's getting a bigger role, and that is Heath Chapman.
Man. I knew you'd come into the game at some point. Welcome to the party.
Heath Chapman is coming in as a guy who you referenced in the previous podcast, talking about a potential midfield role that
Hayden Young told me.
Yeah, he did. He's telling everyone apparently, but he is
Justin Longview was like, can this bloke shut up? He's letting everyone know our secrets.
close to your chest. But yeah, what do we think about Heath Chapman as a potential mid-price option, priced at $494K?
I actually quite love the idea of this. The thing is, this guy's a good player already as a backman. Not necessarily fantasy, but this guy's a guy that they obviously rate, and he's going to be a starter in their team. Starter, I'm using basketball terminology. He's going to be starting in their team, and then priced at, what's
he priced at?
50, mid-50s?
Priced at 55.
There we go,
Yep.
55.
He's done 70 before.
So, this is what is an average AFL winger? What is an average AFL winger average in fantasy?
Wow, okay. Say that 10 times fast. I'd have to say you'd be looking at, like mid-70s?
Yeah, and that's what, if he goes 75, then...
75, there's 20 points.
That's a winning pick.
That's your 20 points right
That's
there.
good.
I think, I quite like the pick as well. I think if he plays half-back, if he plays wing, it's all good to me. I think either way he can score quite well, because if you're playing half-back, you're benefiting from the absence of a Hayden Young moving up into the midfield, and obviously in his 2022 average, Hayden Young was back there. And, he's a young player. He's going to be turning 22 just before the start of the season, going to his 4th year, but really... He's only played 24 games in his AFL career so far, so he's still got plenty of growth left in his game. And, Fremantle, they might switch something up, but they do have the history of obviously chipping that ball around a bit, and that can definitely help a player like Heath Chapman out. And again, no early buy, and you do get the benefit of the regular buy for the Freo Dockers being that round 13, where there are only two teams on that buy.
There's more reasons to pick Hayden Young.
Yes. Yeah, we've got to mention that, but the Port Adelaide. Port Adelaide and
Trailblazers
Freo,
coming over.
Yeah, mate.
You beauty.
Pick Scoot Henderson. And you got me flustered. And the Freo Dockers have that round 13 buy. So
how do you reckon NBA players would go coming over and playing? And I'm not counting Mason Cox. He's not a case study.
Oh, yeah, absolutely not. Some of them would kill it.
The athleticism would be.
Mate.
Imagine LeBron James in the ruck.
Oh, dominate. Someone like...
Wemby in the ruck. Jesus.
Don't know about that one. But, someone like a Jalen Johnson, LeBron James, those like power forward types.
I wouldn't be encouraging the kick. I'd be teaching him how to hand pass, and that's about it.
Yeah, that'd be about
Maybe
it.
bounce.
Big pack marks. All right, do we give a verdict on Heath Chap?
Give him the ball, Rad.
Wow, he's very nice.
Very nice. Happy chappy. There is a thumbs up from us. Let's go through. We've got a little bit extra time. We'll go through, and I'm going to go rapid fire, and I want you to give me, I don't know, a thumbs up, a thumbs down, and maybe a brief reason as to why. Another, we'll stay at Freo, Jordan Clark, someone who could potentially benefit with Hayden Young moving up into the midfield. Any thoughts on old Clarkie?
I actually did a little bit of research, and the more I did, the more I sort of thought there's something to this kid. So he's priced at 76, and in the last 3 games of the season, went at 100, small sample size. In the last 5, went at 87.
But that did coincide, obviously, with Hayden Young.
With the Hayden Young. Because Hayden Young went into the midfield for the last 5 games.
5, yes.
So for the last 5 games, he went at 87. Now, that's only 11 points of upside.
Yeah.
The issue with somebody priced at 76 is that if you're picking a guy at 76, he needs to be that close to top 6.
Yeah, he almost needs to be a premium.
Yeah, or he needs to be going to that. Yeah, so that was the thing. Is I think he will benefit, yes, like Chapman. Chapman didn't play many games, but Young up the field. He's going to be one of the main distributors down there, you would think. Mm-hmm. If he can go... The problem is, let's say, Hayden Young goes up the field, and let's say Jordan Clark steps straight in and essentially becomes Hayden Young of last year. Well, what did Hayden Young average last year? It was only 88 or something like that.
88 or 89, yeah.
Which means it's still not a good pick to pick
not
Jordan Clark, is it?
quite enough, yeah. So I guess that means that's one of these ones.
No! God, please, no! 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 No!
Maybe I should have shortened that one.
How many no's do we need?
Interesting one here. I'll throw to you with Alex Witherden, obviously with no Shannon Hearn. He was a guy that we, previous years seemed to be a bit of a fantasy piglet in the fact that he likes to seagull it up a little bit. But last year, I don't know about you, but I personally saw him doing a little bit less of that and playing a bit more team ball, which might be good for his job security. But as as far as it goes for fantasy scoring, do you think that without Shannon Hearn there, someone like an Alex Witherden has the potential to become a premium?
I don't think so. How many games did Shannon Hearn play last year?
That's a good question.
So the thing is, we obviously got Duggan back there, who's probably West Coast's.
Does Duggan play off half-back or in the midfield? That's a very... I don't know the answer to that question, but I think that it could go either way.
Yeah, I thought he was a half-back, but maybe I didn't watch a lot of West Coast last year,
fair
which is
play.
weird. They're so good to watch. So
it's such a good team.
I don't see Witherden doing anything more than potentially what he did last year. But the other thing too is I'm guessing that he is also priced.
Yeah, so he's priced at 78.
Which, again, you need to be picking him with the confidence that he's going to be there or thereabouts. If you're picking a guy priced there, they're your last upgrade target, aren't they? They're like the last guy you're going to...
Yeah, you're trying to hold them onto the bye, which is in round 14 for the Eagles. He averaged 85 in games without Hearn. Hearn played 13 games last season, so you've got about, a 10-game sample size
85's not enough.
85, which is,
cut and dry.
It's not quite enough. I won't press the button again.
No, press it again.
Let's go on to the next one.
No! God, please, no! 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 No!
This would only be like a 20-minute podcast if we didn't have that sound grab.
I'll throw two Giants your way. Harry Himmelberg and Isaac Cumming. Is these two guys, do either of them present enough value? Isaac Cumming's a very interesting one because he was a guy that went up, did pretty well after, a rocky start to his career. And then I think his second or third season went big. But last year just really fell off the map with a few other Giants defenders taking a leap ahead of him. Is he someone that bounces back? And Harry Himmelberg obviously moving into defense. He did so halfway through last year.
I like Cumming, but I don't like the player.
Okay.
So
you like Cumming, but not Isaac.
No, correct.
Okay.
Round 3 bye for both of these guys.
Yep.
They fall into that awkward, again, no man's land where you need them to be elite. They're not going to make you a heap of cash unless they really pop. And then why would you pay for a guy at that price that also has a buy straight away in round 3?
Yeah, and Himmelberg, you might recognise the name if you had him in the prior season as someone who went off and was a great player in defence. But last year, the role was not quite as juicy, not quite as...
GWS just playing better.
They're playing better. They got probably more mouths to feed. Lockie Ash took a step up a little bit more. And
a good team to watch.
Yeah, so I think that I agree with you. Of the two, I think I'm much more confident in a Himmelberg than I am in Isaac Cumming. I think he's just kind of stepped back behind some of those other guys, whereas a Himmelberg, takes a few more of the kick-ins and, can win his own ball a little bit better. But I still don't think it's quite enough to factor in the fact that he's got that early round bye. And another last one I'll throw your way, Jack Bowes from the Geelong Cats, who has a few injury-affected games in his average. And Geelong just kind of getting older now. Do they turn it over a bit more to these younger players? He had a bit of scoring history in the Gold Coast Suns, and a few people, I think I want to say Dossie from the Pod, shout out to him, jumped on him at one point last year and he might have got injured on a three or something like that.
Poor Dossie.
Does this cat give you any sort of hope at all that he might be a pick as a bit of a unique play?
No.
Yeah, I don't think so either. I can't trust Geelong. I think that's what it comes down to me for.
Yeah. There's an interesting mid-price midfielder from Geelong that I'd like to talk about.
Yes, we'll get there.
Not now.
Yeah, in a couple podcast time. But yeah, he played 17 games last year, and yes, he had 4 affected games in the middle of the season where he had that 9. He was subbed out on a 54, subbed out on a 21, and used as a sub for the last little bit on a 10. So the average is definitely well down, but it is still that awkward price where...
Was it you telling me that Geelong had the most number of players attend a CBA last year as well?
30 players attended a CBA for Geelong last year, more than an entire team.
Good luck working that one out, eh?
So, yes. It's just confusing, and I don't think, even if we see something in the preseason, who was the Geelong mid-pricer last year that was in our forward lines? I can't remember. Anyway, someone was there. We saw him in the preseason. Everyone jumped on him, and he shit the bed to start the year because the roles can just change from week to week over in the Geelong category.
Oh, that's going to shit me now.
Yeah, it's going to shit me too. But anyway, I just can't trust Geelong. So to me, Jack Bowes is a big old...
No! God, please, no! 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 No!
All right, that will do it for today's...
We need a maybe sound effect as well. So if there's anyone...
Yeah, has everyone got a good maybe sound effect? Throw it our way and we'll throw it up for those ones so we can get back on the fence and not give a decisive opinion. But that is all we're going to talk about for the mid-prices. Let us know down in the comment section if you think we've forgotten anyone, if there's someone that we haven't touched on today. I'm sure there's someone we might have missed, but let us know. Are you rocking with the 2 early buy round players in... Kadeem Coleman and Zach Williams, or are you going neither? Let us know down in the comments, and we will catch you guys next time. Next podcast, we're doing a rankings, top 30 defenders. Make sure you check it out, and we'll see you then. Bye.